Going on. There's Maz, I think he's wandering around wearing something green or something, I don't know. He'll sell you some tickets. There's some prizes up the back, so fucking get involved in that raffle. Before I welcome up this incredible band though, I want to tell you my true story of my encounter with Nirvana in 1992. The story I'm about to tell you is completely true. No names have been changed because nobody is innocent in this story. I spent most of my time in the 90s on a steady diet of bongs, baked beans and Baroccas. I also spent a good part of my time vowing to destroy corporate rock while mostly listening to bands on Geffen Records, one of the biggest corporate rock labels in the world. It was a complicated time. I was living in a rental place in Richmond at the time that made the young one's house look like the Sofitel. Not long before that, Operation Noah was in effect. This is a Victorian police initiative that basically encouraged people to dob in their neighbours if they suspected they were partaking in illicit drugs. We were smoking so much weed at the time that all my clothes smelled like they'd been kept in Cheech and Chong's underwear drawer. And of course, we were highly paranoid. Every time the Channel 7 helicopter flew overhead, we went into full lockdown. We threw blankets over any weed plants in the yard, drew all the blinds and turned down the stereo from 10 to a more manageable 8, over which we might be able to hear the battering ram at the front door. But this is the particularly shameful part. Because we were so paranoid by anybody visiting the house, we avoided telling the real estate agent about any repairs that needed to be made. Our shower-bath combination had become horribly blocked up and was filled with fetid brown liquid that looked like the water in the garbage compactor where Luke gets trapped in Star Wars. So whenever we wanted to have a shower, we would pull plastic bags over to our legs and secure them with rubber bands to shield our legs from the toxic pool. And I can't believe I just shared that with a room full of people. All because we suspected that whatever plumber was sent to the house would be an undercover narc. In the early 90s, music was still extremely polarised. Genres stayed in their respective camps. There was commercial music and there was alternative music, and the streams did not cross in any shape or form. Alternative music was all we listened to. Everything else sucked ass and needed to be destroyed. Mudhoney, Sonic Youth, Babes in Toyland, we worshipped them all. They were our secret ambassadors of pain and only we knew about them. But that was all about to change, big time. In 1994, I was 24 years old and had hair as long as my list of unrequited crushes. I looked like a geeky version of Chris Cornell from Soundgarden. When it was announced that Violent Femmes and Nirvana would headline the very first big day out in Sydney, we decided right there and then we would make a pilgrimage up the Deadly Hume. We booked the cheapest backpacker we could find in King's Cross, which sounds scary until you remember the squalid conditions that was our home life in Richmond. It was the day before the show, so my mate Phil Parker and I decided to take the train to the city to have a look around. On the way to the station, I was thrilled to clock Ron Pino from Die Pretty walking down the street. A big gust of wind blew his hat off directly to my path. I caught it in mid-air and gleefully shouted, "I got it, Ron!" As if Ron Pino and I were old mates. I was as starstruck as if I'd just run into Iggy Pop. So what happened next almost made my fucking head explode. We descended into the bowels of King's Cross subway station and stood in the line for tickets. It was only moments later we detected loud American accents behind us, trying to negotiate where the hell they were. I looked over my shoulder and gasped. I grabbed onto my mate Phil Parker, partly to make sure I didn't fall over and partly to draw him into me so I could whisper into his ear, "Okay, be cool, don't look now, but I'm pretty sure Dave Grohl and Christopher Selleck are staying right behind us." Phil loudly said, "Bullshit," ignored my command and turned straight around, and there they were. Beanpole, not a salad. Hard to miss. We were standing so close we had to actually tilt our heads up to make sure it was him. And of course, there's no mistaking, Dave Grohl. They had a bit of an entourage all around them, being loud and obnoxious and drawing the irritated glances of other commuters, but only glances, nothing in the way of recognition. You have to remember that Nirvana toured Australia at the most incredible turning point in their career. They were teetering on the very cusp of mega stardom, to the point where they could still get public transport and be almost completely unrecognised. Almost, apart from a couple of long-haired stoners from Melbourne, of course. "What do we do?" said Phil in a panicked voice, as if there was something we had to do. There wasn't a lot of options, really. It's a well-balanced breakfast of 5 joints, 2 lines of dirty biker speed, and half a tab of acid each. And then approaching in the chat was completely out of the question. I said to the field, "We're just going to get on whatever fucking train they're getting on." At this point, we had not spotted Kurt at all, although we were feverishly searching for him. We rolled into the train behind Dave and Chris and their entourage, and what appeared to be their tour manager was trying to herd them all together. Suddenly, the tour manager shouted out, "Where the fuck is Kurt?" Everyone glanced around, shrugging their shoulders, until a lone voice piped up, "There he is!" She pointed out the window of the train, and every head turned to the platform. There's Kurt, sitting all alone. He had on those huge fuck-off sunglasses, framed by blonde hair, little pink streaks running through it. The tour manager tried to wrestle his way through the entourage to get out of the train, but as he did, the doors closed. He got one hand between the doors and tried to force them open, but then there was a jolt and the train started moving slowly out of the station. Dave, Chris and entourage were all laughing like lunatics as the tour manager kept trying to force the doors open, shouting through the gap in the door, "Kurt, you fuckhead, get on the train!" But Kurt wasn't moving at all. He looked as serene as a Buddha sitting there on the park bench. And as the train slowly glided out of the station, with Kurt's face bloomed into a huge shit-eating grin, he waved and smiled as we glided alongside him, and he kept waving and smiling until he was completely out of sight. Alright, thank you very much. Now I'm going to need you to fucking lose your minds for our band as they get up on stage.